In a world that moves fast and forgets easy, veterans, after they take off their uniforms, coaches, shaping tomorrow's leaders today, volunteers, choosing service over self, everyone has a story. And most of them exist because they kept trying. These are the stories, so they are not forgotten. My name is Bill Lau, and this is Semper Tri, because trying beats quitting. For more than a century, the American Legion has advocated for the well-being of American veterans and their families. Yet there is no single deed or accomplishment that is more important to our organization than the prevention of veteran suicide. Since 9/11 attack, the number of veterans who have taken their own lives far surpasses the number of American deaths included during the entire Korean War, Vietnam War, Gulf War, and global war on terrorism combined. A veteran is 50% more likely to take his or her life than a person who has never served in the military. This must stop. Statistics fluctuate, but the most important number to the American Legion is one, as be the one to stop a veteran from taking his or her own life. If we all save one, collectively we will save thousands. It has been called a campaign, a slogan, a phrase, an initiative. None of these words reflect what be the one to the American Legion. It is a mission. We can accomplish this mission by destigmatizing the issue of mental health. Veterans value courage and takes courage to ask for help. But through our Buddy Check outreach program, the American Legion does not sit back and wait to be asked. We take a proactive approach and ask veterans if they are okay. Equally important is listening. To affirmatively, compassionately engage with the veteran. Pay attention to the responses, body language, and other signs. If the veteran is struggling or in crisis, encourage the veteran to call or even text the 988 crisis line for better outcomes. Watch the veteran make the call rather than trusting that he or she will do it at a later time. Follow up with the veteran and ensure that he or she connects with the needed resources. Communicate with family members and friends of the veteran so they can be vigilant and supportive. Everyone can be the one and help reduce the number of veterans to suicide. For the latest on Be the One, visit the National Be the One website, betheone.org. Since 1919, Legionnaires have answered their nation's call. Now we call on all Americans to assist us in understanding the new mission, the mission to be the one to save one. So normally I don't like to read notes or whatever, but I thought it was important to read that speech and make sure that we got that out there. And the Be the One program and veteran suicide awareness and just suicide awareness in general is just a dear cause that me and my wife have taken on, and just it means a lot. So listening to Nick's story and what he tells us in this coming up of this episode, I really thought that this was a good time to send this message and get this out there. Appreciate everyone for joining Semper Tri podcast. This is episode 6. We are going to go into this with Nick and hear his story and his struggles and how just a random phone call is probably what saved him. Yes, we do know that his wife is a very big key factor in this, and thank you for that. But just someone reaching out, be that one that reaches out, be the one that asks, be the one that listens. So here we go. Let's listen to Nick's story.
Version. I got some history, mental illness history.
Well, let's go into a little bit of that.
Go ahead. Yeah, we did. Talked on the phone.
Yep. Jennifer is part of that Smiles for Jake. There is, and I mentioned this in Ben's episode with the American Legion, be the one to reach out to a veteran, be the one to ask, if you are a veteran and you know me, and if you don't know me, reach out if you're in a tough position. I mean, I know you had some struggles. You were telling me, are we okay to talk with this?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. If you want to go into little details.
Yeah. So like with the episode you did with Jennifer, and then so I can kind of tell you what happened to me or when I got out. So like a lot of us, or because I got home and I struggled with alcohol. It was normal, obviously knowing I drank too much, but it was for a lot of years under control, but then progressed, and I was dealing with a lot of from the deployment issues, to say that trying to drown, and then dealing with sleep issues, and get into that. And So yeah, let myself drink for many years, and knowing I had a problem, but then able to function just fine, work and keep stuff going. And then it got pretty bad, and it's about 3 years ago. I quit. I had a few health things or scares, and then even like with health scare, I had high liver numbers, and having the like realization of that happening, but still fine with it. Almost yeah, not caring. And looking at the time, not just suppressing stuff and thinking that's the way to go, and trying to be thinking I can handle it. I know there's issues and why those issues are, but I don't want to be, you don't want to admit anything or be looked at as, and it took me, once I got sober and real, it doesn't matter what, I had to come to the realization, accept who I am, and went through, and then getting the help. And it was probably, well, yeah, I'd been sober a while, and I knew there's something still wrong. Mood swings turn into really big days on, whether depression that turns, so it's very suicidal. And some low, and you'd mentioned, Jenna, reach out to your, if you think somebody, you want to reiterate that, but or my takeaway when you talk about it, it's so hard. Someone that first, they're not gonna open up and reach out. You know what I mean?
Right. No, you gotta realize the signs, I
Yeah,
believe.
it's all you got to an outside either check on people to kind of know what, if you think they're going through something, just it's because I'm sure people, when I was at my worst, people knew I was drinking and was going through stuff, but even that, it's hard to, even if somebody did reach out or open up, as being there, I wouldn't want to hear it, and just
Right.
pushed it off. And once I had a few times of well, when you don't enjoy what you should enjoy anymore. And I had that realization a few times, and I look back, I'm like, oh, that was not good. And then when that kept happening more often and would stick, and realized, and I'll call it just by chance, when it was about a year and a half ago, and I knew stuff was bad. Like when you don't, like, whether, especially like when you don't even care about wife and kids, stuff that makes you tick, whether it's hunting, fishing, my cattle, the stuff that that makes you tick. When you don't, you get in a low spot, it's like people can say, well, it's just short term a final solution to a short term problem as far as suicide, and that, or they took the easy way out. And I hate saying hate, but that is an ignorant statement by somebody that doesn't know truly what somebody's going through in a low, and where they succumb to that battle and take their own life, whether it's slowly drinking away or actually acting on something. I can, to bring that up. So just in our unit, Charlie Company, the picture that's hanging on the wall there.
Yep.
There's Eli Peltier. He died of suicide as a couple of years ago now. My Doc Smith is our medic for our platoon. I mean, we were tight one of the whole time we were there. After we talk occasionally, that was a substance thing. He was about young, obviously, but like the rest of us, addictive personality, and we knew what happened. Emily Powell, she went on the second deployment. So when I got the year, so I'll just keep my train of thought. And then there's Lucier Rob, I believe his first name. He succumbed to his battles, and that so another one, Josh Owen. He died. He was a police officer, got killed on a domestic. That was a few years ago. I don't know if you remember. It was Polk County, I think. That was a tough one. So yeah, so there's just in our unit alone, what I
Right.
so then you look back on, like, I should have taught, I went another month, 6 months without calling Doc, or so you have that regrets and learn from that. So I have my tight group of boys that stay, obviously Jake, he lives fairly close. We do stuff together. He's one that can reach, I reach out if needed, but then, I got a boy, Travis Pesta, and a Bobby Raring, that we kind of realize that we all have the same issues that, especially Bobby Ring. I can talk, didn't, like me, you want to forget, but not forget, and just, so that, basically once you realize that, yeah, I'm not the only one struggling with stuff, and you can be open and honest with what's going on. So a lot of it is, if somebody is listening to this and you think, well, one of my guys, or one of was friendly. We don't talk to, reach out. If you haven't talked in a while, I bet that's about my only advice. I guess there's
What
not.
helped you? What got you over this hump?
So so yeah, it was by chance I got a phone call out of the blue from the VA, and I was kind of when I got home, you're getting the VA system, and was there helping me through some stuff back. I mean, we're talking early on, like '09 through 11, I think, when I got in the system, and yeah, they diagnosed me with a TBI and PTSD and some other health issues from the deployment. But then I kind of got well, out of going there. It was more of a I don't want to deal with the doctor's appointment. Nobody wants to do doctor's appointment, especially if VA gets a bad rap. Has a different experience, and so I didn't really. I can handle it on my own type of deal. Anyways, yeah, about a year and a half ago, when it was bad, and by chance the VA called, and it was I don't know if she was new position. This Michelle, I'll say her last name, but she's a caseworker, was going through checking in on guys that kind of fell off the like what happened to them. They were kind of we knew what was going on, but all of a sudden they're not. She's like, yeah, just and I'm like, yeah, it's funny. Funny you should call. It just happened to me, and I don't know if I would have. What would have happened if that phone call didn't happen, and maybe I would have caught it, said, Gretchen, something's not right. This is what's going on. And I couldn't even. It was to me, it was that scary kind of like I can't let Gretchen know about this because she's gonna get scared and my shit's gonna go down. I don't want. So, anyways, when she's like, yeah, come in and we'll talk, and from there, um, she, with the basically help from a psychiatrist, right, therapist, my regular casework, with combination of getting help from them, and then uh, so yeah, their help and through a lot of appointments or a lot of coaching, whether it was therapy and then right medication is how it take and then it's not just a quick easy issue. We might fix something that's working better, but then in turn, we got to deal with sleep issue or something like that. Or I mean, and what was it gonna? So I have Doug, don't you? Have my dog. I suppose. Well, yeah, we haven't because it's been what we were saying 5-6 years
It's been a little while.
Yeah. 3 years now. I've had Doug. He's a Great Pyrenees. He's sleeping in the car right now, actually, because Pyrenees is full.
Yep.
So that was going on 3 years now. Before I went into the VA, we looked in her. Gretchen's a service dog for my issues, or looked into it, and well, it's to spare details. It was through the whole process and what breed we're looking at and what my issues were and what a dog or service dog could help me with, and ended up landing on if you know the Pyrenees breed or what they're bred and what their purpose is in life. They're livestock guard dog, and from an early age, he was trained to or worked with me or was with me pretty early on, and then yeah, so he goes with me everywhere I go. Keeps an eye on me at home. He like now earlier when I was coming in, he didn't want to come in. It's too warm in here. So I'm like, yeah, get out in the snow and get wet. I'm like, no. He's like, no. He went to the car and let him in there. So he knows where I'm at. He knows where I'm at right now. But when we leave in the car, wherever we go, public or not,
Doug's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Need to
So random phone call from the VA
at the right time too.
At the right time, really helped this one out.
Yeah, and I knew it, and like I said, maybe I would have, because I'd come out of look back on whether it was a few days. It's like, God dang it, why was it? What happened to cause that type of mental breakdown? And then okay, it was whether it was a sleep issue, nightmares, wicked stuff.
Is that
There's something
nightmares
right
from over there?
Yeah, just stuff that does, and then you're like I said earlier, mentioned you're wired like that, or just go so long you can't. It's like, why can't I be normal or get that away? And I think some guys can. Or talking to other vets can. It's like, I don't know. I have no issue. So you always think like, well, why can't deal with it? So yeah, and with a lot of driving issues too. Obviously when we did those kind of missions and what we did, stuff sticks with you. You see certain things different and react. It's a lot of what Doug does, in crowds and stuff, for lack of a better crowd control, essentially, or just with people, knows when to get me out of a situation. A lot of it's is an extra set of senses, what dogs are capable of, and even stuff we don't even know, and then how he can alert me essentially. And speak the same language without speaking to each other. So
It's awesome.
Yeah.
'Cause
and like I said, Gretchen, she's a vet tech by what she went to school for and did for many years, and was involved. Or she's trained dogs or many years as a a dog trainer, or was more training the owners, but yet that type of classes and stuff. So she did a lot of the training for him or with him and with me, and then and it's along with, so that was before I got help from the VA, and he got me through some shit times there, but it's still, I mean, there's not a cure all or fix all. You get, like I said, you have Doug, and then that's helps in regard, and then the help from the therapy at the VA that I did for a while, and then I'll write medication, that type. And I don't know, stigma, or was basically a stigma of a mental illness, or not knowing.
how does it come down, or what's the perception of it?
Yeah, and I had to get over that, and then I even diagnosed with something, you still don't want to admit it, whether TBI or the PTSD. It's like, but like I said, once you just be real with yourself, and you only have this life, and make the most, don't fake who you are, I guess, is once I had the realization. And then stuff. I mean, there's always still struggles, but in a better place. And I can recognize, it feels like I mentioned, talking with Bobby, you can have that connection instead of, not just doing the normal, hey, how's it going down there? How's the weather? Hunting and fishing. You could, to like truly, hey, what you been doing? What's actually going on? Just to pick up on little things. And if anything, what I learned is, for all the bad shit that I put Gretchen and the family through, I can take away that it didn't get to the point of, too far gone, or I just slowly kept doing it till I'm, slow, was able to get to that realization early in the time, and then can hopefully help somebody else out.
Right.
Whether it's somebody hearing this, like, maybe I should check on somebody else, or somebody they think of, and that get somebody else,
or maybe
mind about something, or see
maybe a spouse of a veteran might,
right.
Because I've always wondered that too, because I've never experienced it firsthand. Being the spouse of a veteran, if you're with that person every single day, that gradual change you don't realize is the change, to where a friend from the outside seeing you once a week, once a month, can notice that change easier. So maybe
Exactly.
someone can reach out.
And I think to Gretchen's credit too, she saw what I was, what I was before, and what I'm capable of, and then recognizing that, that ticker that meant what I had going on. And there's, like I said, she gave me more than multiple chances, where she shouldn't have given me, but still knew that there's something that, that stuck with it. And obviously I wouldn't be here today without
She put on
her and the girls. And people say, and you go through this, thank a veteran, or people thank you for your service. Always feels weird, how that is, but I appreciate the acknowledgement. But I always think, thank her standing right here too, that if she's, because not just what, I talked about what I did there, and say, I was, obviously good times is bad, good times and bad, and I carry that crap with, but it's still have the memories. But then her willingness to stick through it all, and knowing that it can get better. It's not always going to be perfect, right? Everybody's human,
Right.
And whether it's work stress, and like me here at farm stress, but it's all relative.
Yeah. And like I said, I can't personally, but like I said, I could personally tell you that I know a lot of people would say it would be sad, so like I said, keep fighting those fights, don't lose to those.
People
And what did you say earlier? You just said a little bit ago, when like you said that they lost to their demons, or they lost the battle, and that you despise that. Can you say that again?
took the easy way out.
Took the easy way out.
And to say the easy way, like somebody, like when I said, and I can be honest, and like, I don't, even with the dog sitting there, Gretchen or the girls just staring off into it, like it don't matter. So to say somebody that's that low, and say that was easy to, whether it's pull up a rope or a
Whatever,
gun or whatever it is, to say that to say that was the easy way, but it's
Yeah, and like I said, I'd never heard that point of view before, so it's just like I wanted to make sure I got it right because that
I
hit.
don't know. Somebody might, whether that's, yeah, I can't look at that statement now or before, and say, and I guess it's easy, especially if a person is religious and look at it like, oh, that's a major problem with whatever religion it is, as far as taking your own life, and you can't do that because you can't. And you think somebody that's that low gives a shit about religion? Honestly, they don't.
That is what's crossing their mind.
Yeah, and I grew up Roman Catholic, or that was taught to me. I'm no longer. There's no religion or belief in anything whatsoever now. And I think that was a lot of my healing too. Some people find God or a religion to bring them back to reality, but it was me, like I said, being real with myself and who I am when I, to quit putting on a show for, whether it be who I am after the military or in life in general. I wasn't, knew there was something wrong with religion at a young age, but you just go through it just because you want to make people happy, family happy, and that's just what you do. But then it took that to get through the alcohol problem, and that was that real, to not do the religion or not have that as a thing that I had to keep up to, even though it wasn't something in my life that out of belief. So, and not no dog on church or anybody.
No.
believes. I fully support. It's everybody's. It's
You're
great.
not pushing your way on anybody,
Yeah.
and
I'm just sharing my story
Yeah.
as far as how it took me to, and I didn't. It's weird how when you have a realization later on, like, oh, that some makes sense with what you're thinking and going through. But yeah.
So no, I appreciate this. To let you know, I will split this part of the episode off. This will be a bonus. This will be I want to get on here with, someone from Smiles for Jake and, talk a little bit more about this and some of their resources available that they have to hopefully help somebody. I mean, if I do all this for the next 20 years and this one speech right here saves one person's life, thank you, Nick. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thanks for having me. I lost my train of thought when you mentioned something about.
Okay. I mean, this is huge.
Actually, that's what it was. Like people that, like, say you now, hearing somebody's story, like have a little more empathy. You never know what somebody's going through. Whether, and that getting back to our girls and like treat everybody like you want to be, that golden rule, and you call out somebody for being a bully. Don't go with the crowd, but just knowing like have the empathy. Whether it's a substance thing, like drunk over there, that person's got problems with this, that, or whether it's like there's a reason they got there, whether it's a childhood trauma.
Yep. Something.
So if anything too, I have a lot of feeling for that community, that type of situation.
It goes around with always be kind,
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, Marine Corps Semper Fi is always faithful. I went with Semper Tri. I mean, always try to be kind, always try to keep going.
Try to keep going.
So a news article was written. I did a news interview, and I don't know where the quote came from and who it was. And I would say this to you, and this goes for life. This goes for every single thing you try. And if you're going to quit tomorrow. Because if you make it through today, then you can make it through tomorrow. So,
Yep.
But with that, we're going to end this. Nick, we can talk again later.
Yes.
We will stay in touch. Well, thank you for listening to episode 6 of Semper Tri. Hard to believe it's been 6 episodes already. Thank you for everybody that keeps reaching out and saying they're listening. Means a lot. I appreciate the support. If you do have any questions or you want to reach out or a veteran or somebody that I would love to talk to, please reach out to me, or you can always get a hold of me at sempertripodcast@gmail.com. Leave me a message. Like I said, any questions for any previous people, any thoughts, just let me know. We'll go back, we'll talk to them, I'll ask them. If you have any World War II vets in your life, if you have any Vietnam vets in your life, anybody I need to get out yet, and I need to talk to a couple of my uncles. I want to talk to them. They're both Vietnam veterans, and just talk to some other relatives and other people around the community. So
Thank you again for joining Semper Tri and listening to me. And let's see where episode 7 brings us next week. Have a great day.